Every single business plan has a single broken piece that's quietly holding you back. The question is though, have you found it yet? All right, friends, welcome back to another Reeducation Experience podcast. This is your podcast powered coaching journey. This is now episode 3. Already, episode 3 in our deep dive into those, remember the 7 C's that I brought to you guys. And every week we're unpacking one of these C's with some real intentionality. The framework of the 7 C's is to help you kind of rebuild your real estate business from the inside out, slow you down to speed up. And I really hope you're enjoying it so far. So far, friends, this is what we've talked about. We've talked about C number 1, which was what? It was courage, right? The bold decision to just begin, right? To jump. We've explored clarity, right? C equals 2 was clarity. The hard-won understanding of who you want to be finally, who you want to be as a realtor, and then how you want to show up. Because I said to you in that episode, who is more important than the what? But we don't think about it enough, all right? That's what that was all about. Today, though, it's time to get into something super deep and maybe even counterintuitive, because today is all about C, number 3, that I'm calling constraint. All right, constraint. The last thing I think a lot of us, as you're hearing me build this out with you, is thinking, I've got some energy, I've got some motion, I've got over the fear, I've got the who I want to be, that it'd be time to rang you in. But I'm having to tell you that as the truth. Let me ask you this. Have you ever had one of those days where you did everything and then got nothing done? Of course you did. You worked probably like 8-10 hours. You touched every single part of your business, things like email, voicemails, direct messages, video, right? All this stuff. You might even like made a reel like I'm about to do now, right? You might have checked in with friends. You might have maybe, I don't know what, gone through some of your CRM. And you might have even booked the open house. You might have planned for it. You've done some marketing, sent some stuff. You still went to bed wondering, did you actually move anything forward, or did you just get some done? And that's the danger that I want to talk about today in this episode. I'm calling it like unfiltered actions. Mistakenly taking movement, but for momentum, all right? This is where our good old friend for today's episode, constraint, comes in. Now, I want you guys to think about this, right? Constraint, I got a bunch of notes here. Constraint isn't a dirty word. It's not about playing small either. It's not about killing your creativity. Constraint is about choosing, right? Deciding where to place all of this energy and this new excitement and deciding which direction to go, right? Which is going to make the biggest, boom, impact, right? That's what we want to do. It's about finally limiting your focus to what matters most, and it's what matters most right now. Because what matters most right now will change throughout your career as you unpack things. But that's that linchpin we were talking about earlier. And this is the kicker. Constraint is what transforms your courage that we talked about and the clarity now into real world results, right? If we don't have some constraint, some focus, we're never gonna get into it. So, with that intro, let's get into this together. So why does this really matter? Once you've had the courage to start, guys, once you've fought for clarity on the path, the next natural instinct is to do what? It's to kind of get out there into this business and do everything at once. And I have been there through that because you and I know there's so many layers to this business. It's like onions. It's like layer after layer after layer that goes forever. But real change won't in our careers, in anybody's career. It doesn't come from doing everything at once. It comes from doing that next right thing that I continue to talk about. And this is where I call it that linchpin moment for you, right? The tiny hinge, one of my old coaches, right? Think of a little hinge that's like, I'm trying to draw 3D here, right? You've got the hinge that's gonna go on the door, and this little hinge that you're fastening to the door, it could hold up a massive right? Door, right? Some of us in real estate, average 8-foot door. Sometimes you walk up to a beautiful luxury home, you got this 10-foot door. If you look at the hinges, they're actually still pretty small. The tiny hinge that's going to swing that door open, the big door in your business. Because if we're being honest, most of us don't struggle from lack of the ambition part. We struggle from the lack of focus and where we got to put it. What we do, and I've talked about this, we take in every strategy, we sign up for every coaching call, we follow what every top agent is doing, and we apply none of it deeply enough to make a difference. So we're just going after everything. And yet constraint, right, is what's going to give us those results once again. And it's going to allow us to move fast, right? If I think back, I always like to give you guys a few examples, like real world and then some anecdotal stuff from my coaching world. If we think of like Steve Jobs, right, with Apple, what happened? When I go back through his history, which is always fun to listen to, when he returned to Apple, they were making dozens and dozens of products. So it was like, he comes back, Mr. Steve, he's got his little hat on, I'm gonna come save the day. And then he looks around and there's just like product line after product line after product line. He slashed this down, actually, right down to 4 right off the bat. So whatever else was on the go, and then it was that single act of constraint that allowed them to turn Apple around. Because again, those of us been around long, they saw the days that Apple was basically falling flat on its face. He understood we all have to learn that innovation and impact for our businesses doesn't come from doing just more things. They come from focusing finally more. All right? So hopefully you're getting a good sense for this. What is constraint? I want to define it clearly for you. Constraint is this. I'm going to read my definition. Constraint is intentionally limiting your energy to what's most essential right now. Right now, not forever. It's not about ignoring everything else, you guys, because I know we have a lot of layers to this business. It's about choosing where our attention is and energy will be for the biggest payoff this season of your current career. Where I'm recording this now, it's springtime and it's busy time. So that season for an agent's business, to whenever you're listening to it, will be different no matter where you're at, right? When I wanted to apply this, and when I think back through my coaching and help you get there, I want to either introduce to you or reintroduce you to my agent cycle of life. This is a framework that I built when I built a bunch of my courses, and this is how I teach and frame all of the coaching I get to have. And this is the life cycle of your real estate business. Every single one of the actions in your business, I can promise you, have been hard tested, fits into one of these 5 simple phases. It's actually 4 phases and then 1 overarching phase. So I want to walk you through this right now. Phase number 1, if you've never heard this before, or if I'm reintroducing you, is called seeding. And this is the art of lead generation, right? Phase number 1. It's also the art of lead generation, which really means, you guys, it's about creating conversations. All right? It's about creating conversations in our business. Think of top of the funnel. And I use this farming analogy, like for somebody who is out building and harvest and creating food out there, they have to seed things first, right? They got to get something out there. They got to take forward proactive action to put seeds in places, hoping that one day it's going to bloom. Follow me? All right. Number 2, you guys, is nurture. It's nurture. All right. Just like out in the farmer's field, when those little seeds are planted under the ground, nurture process is saying, I got to drop some rain on here. I got to get some sun rays. We got to add the pesticides and all the other shit that North America puts in here that you don't. But this is to nurture, to hopefully get this thing healthy and that it starts to grow and grow and grow. And one day something will come. So this, you guys, is the art of the follow-up, right? The art of the follow-up. And I kind of add in conversion, all right? Because the more you follow up, the more you converse. And the whole goal of the follow-up phase is turning and building relationships. You've moved a conversation into quality relationships that you learn more about these people as time goes on. And some of them you learn enough that they want to buy and sell right away. Some of them you learn enough, build rapport that they stay in your long-term funnel, right? Hopefully that makes sense. So turning seeds into something real now. Okay, so that's phase 2. Phase 3 now is naturally the harvest. So with all that nurturing, all of the rain and the sun and the conversations and all the things that you built rapport, in time, the harvest is actually the art of the client experience, right? This is where somebody finally gets to play realtor. right? And you are harvesting the opportunities. You're out there working with active clients, working as a realtor, buying and selling with them. And this is where we transact. And the harvest, if you can imagine, you're finally pulling that food off of the stalk, off of the tree, and you've got something legitimate. And in our case, finally, an oncoming paycheck. Okay? Phase 4 is regrowth. All right. You imagine, again, out in a farmer's field, what's going to happen? You've gone and harvested everything. Now, is it done? Do you just go out and buy another plot of land? For realtors, you'd love that because they keep buying and selling. But no, that's not what you do. You prepare with what's happened, and you prepare for the regrowth that will come back again in that final 4th phase. Regrowth for us, and I keep saying it's the art of monetization, right? This is where we figure out how to create momentum in our business, right? We've gone through this, and what can happen after you've closed the client to create more? Creating new wins from the last one. And that's the art of regrowth. And then finally, guys, the overarching one is phase number 5, and I call it Mother Nature. Mother Nature, again, to mimic out there, that's the overarching thing that controls all of this. When it rains, when it snows, when it's dry, when the sun comes out, when it's cloudy, when it's not. It's controlling that ability to have seed, nurture, harvest, and regrowth. And that's our business planning part of the business. This is the overarching phase, but this is your kind of operational setup. What do you do daily? What do you do weekly? What are the plans that you run, right? The ecosystem that keeps all things alive. So when I cover this with you guys, and why we're talking about this here for Constraint, this is where Constraint says you can't fix all 5 phases right now, and you don't need to. Right? You have a career to build all 5 phases in time, right? You need to fix back to the word linchpin, right? You need to find the linchpin phase out of the 5 of them that your business needs right now. That's the one that's holding you back. That's the one that's giving you that tiny hinge to swing the big door, you guys. Maybe you're great at generating leads, phase 1, but your nurture is a follow-up, right? So you would think, maybe you're amazing with active clients, but you do nothing after the deal closes, right? Trying to solve every problem at the same time is going to be a trap for you. And frankly, it's one of the fastest ways that every one of us stalls out in our businesses. So what we got to do is we have to constrain. We choose one phase, and then we go super deep. I think as you're hearing this, you guys all know listening to which phase is going to be the thing that is the linchpin to opening up your business, right? If you don't know how to lead generate, it's very likely we don't have to worry about logos and branding and building a personal brand. Lean into your name and your brokerages. That's it, right? If you got a plethora of leads, but nothing's converting, well, you got to find that phase and support it for you. Here's a couple, real world examples we can go through, right? One of the agents that I was coaching was doing like 12, 15 deals a year. Solid, better than the average, but kind of stuck, kind of flatlining. When we looked closer, we saw that their seed phase was strong. They figured out how to lead gen. Tons of incoming stuff, which was great. But their nurture phase was horrible. I would even use the word like chaos. Leads sitting cold, not being called on, no follow-up sequences, no rhythm, no time blocking for it. So what did we do? We said lead gen is working, we got that, let's constrain. We didn't touch branding, we didn't touch tech, we didn't touch new lead sources, even though they were like eager to do it. So we literally built one follow-up sequence that worked for their lead source, one thing, and then I think it was within 60 or 90 days, they had their biggest quarter yet because there was so much there to squeeze out but hadn't been touched and tapped. Here's another one. An agent came to me like insanely overwhelmed. I think a lot of us feel this way. She was trying to build an online course that was going to be a download, right, for clients, run Facebook ads to learn that, film content, then follow up with leads, and manage all of the active 4 clients she had at once. I was like, holy cow, this is a lot. Can you handle this, right? We stopped. What we did is we kind of like took an internal take a breath moment and asked, well, where's the opportunity? Like, where's honestly the real opportunity right now? She basically said, Darren, I have 40 leads that I've never followed up with properly. And I have these 4 active ones that are here waiting, but I'm not giving the time of day. So what did we do? We put all of that cool idea on pause. And then that week, boom, she got a few of those 4 into contract right away. But that when she started the follow-up block, there were 7 or 8 new, like hot 0 to 30 leads that came from her follow-up into her appointments, right? This is what Constraint can do for us. It will find that tiny hinge. If I think of a real world phase as well, I talked about Apple last time, right? Again, one of the big 5. If I think about Amazon started as what, you guys? Right? Back to a bookstore, right? It was started as a bookstore. Instead of walking into one, you could go buy one. It was not the bookstore that was like their end goal. Not because this was not the thing that they were excited about and that they dreamed about, and this is like was getting them up at night. But what it did by building this, slowing down, constraining to figure out how can I sell books online, right? It gave them a chance to do what? To finally build systems and process so that when they could figure that out, it could be scaled to other things. And now today, whether I need whiteboard markers or food for my guinea pig, or want to get some custom branded swag, or get my favorite new hiking gear that I'm learning how to use, I click Amazon and there we go, right? It's the juggernaut now that we all use every single day, and it's because of that constraint. So again, it's not the constraint is like lacking in and like putting a governor on your vision. It's just the favorite term I came up with when I was trying to like give you like a simple takeaway is this: strategic patience. Strategic patience. I love it. Okay, so how do we apply this, right? If we're going to give you this, how do we apply it? I want you to rate yourself on the 5 phases, right? So we take back all the 5 phases, right? And I want you to just simply go seed, nurture, harvest, regrowth, and then mother nature, you guys. And I want to rank yourself from basically 1 to 10, right? I want you to tell me, where are you? 10 being great, like this thing's rocking, and the other ones being 1, right? So seed would be things like, how consistent and effective is your lead gen? For nurturing, it would be, are you converting or are you just collecting, right? Harvest, are your current clients aligned? Are they draining to you? Right? Are they working out, or is there something happening within the client experience that is falling flat? Maybe it's you, right? Regrowth. Are you turning one deal into more, or is that just like random and I just have no process around it because I've just been running and gunning? Mother nature is, do your systems support you, or is there no systems at all, right? So look from 1 to 10, okay, you guys? And the lowest score, the one that is the smallest, will be your linchpin phase. Okay, this will be your linchpin phase. This is the constraint that I want you to lean on as we go through these 7 C's. And that's where we're going to, of course, put your focus. Let me tie this back to the earlier C's. It takes courage to be honest with yourself about what's broken. It takes clarity to admit what most matters right now. And then it takes constraint to actually say no to the rest of the things. This is what will separate you guys, the busy agent from the powerful one. I want you all to be powerful agents. Okay, I always want to give you like a bit of an invitation, all right? Because as we kind of conclude this podcast, let me ask you this. What if your next breakthrough isn't like 5 phases away, 5 different strategies? What if it is 1 constraint away? I think that's likely your case. What is the best use of your time to go deeper, not wider, friends? What if momentum isn't about just figuring out how to do more, but doing less, comma, better? This is what constraint is. Good old Jerry Seinfeld. He's a pretty smart dude, even though he's funny. Simple productivity rule that he uses. He uses this. He wrote a joke a single day. So as he's trying to develop new stuff, he writes like on a calendar with a big X, and he'll put an X there whenever he writes a joke per day. And the whole goal, you guys, is just don't break the daisy chain. So X to X to X to X. And the whole goal for him is to not miss a day, right? That is constraint, you guys, in action. do one thing consistently, watch it compound, watch yourself get better, right? We don't fix everything right now. He doesn't write the whole script for the new big show he's going to do like all at once. It's literally one joke at a time. What matters most? Constraints your superpower. Okay, I think I've hit it. So I want you guys to ask yourself those what if questions. I want to have you go through the 1 to 5, and I want you to find the linchpin. And like always, you guys, for every one of these episodes, we go deeper, right? If this concept helped you, send it to somebody, please. Share it with a team, coach it to your team if you've got one. Send it to other agents that you know and you connect with who might be kind of drowning in distraction, which is, again, what I brought up so many times. Again, if you want to go deeper, the Rome access is where you come. So we will be going through an online workshop on this one specifically, and it's a biggie. So please, I invite you to take part. You got to go to reeducation.school, and you'll see there's buttons everywhere about Rome, Realtors on a Mission, which is my free access for you guys to come in there with me, get all of the show notes, transcriptions, summaries, and then these online live workshops with me. Like I said, if it's just you and I one-on-one, or if there's 1,000 of us on the Zoom together, this is what I'm trying to do. I built worksheets and downloadables, but you need to be a part of Rome, which is free, to do that and not miss a beat. All right, you guys, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, please, because I hope you like this format. I've been trying to make it as interactive and helpful as possible. Where we move from constraint will be the next C. It'll be C number 4, and I'm calling it capacity. Okay, so come on this journey. Until then, guys, work hard. As Real Broker says, where I'm at, be kind. Let's constrain your energy to what matters most, and I'm going to talk to you really soon.